Hello, everybody. I hope you're having a great end of your day. This is Drew DeMaree. I'm with the Freedom Companies, and we're going to get this party started. It's 5:30 here on Tuesday, and so thank you for joining me, everybody that's in person, and also everyone that's listening to the recording afterwards. So I'm just going to start with part of the reason why we're having this discussion is as a real estate agent for 20 years, I built my business on parties, so client parties. Then, as I transitioned into coaching with real estate agents almost 10 years ago, the idea of throwing a client party is very intimidating to a lot of real estate agents. You may or may not agree with this, but just the profile or the personality of each agent is different, of course. But there is this lovely conversation about introverts and extroverts. And it may be surprising, but a lot of top producing salespeople are actually more introverted than they are extroverted. So putting on these client events or client parties can definitely have an intimidation factor. It's kind of like inviting someone to your birthday party and your biggest fear is no one showing up, right? Well, today we're going to go through a series of a conversation and dialogue and strategies that you can have a party with the purpose. Because another part of the conversation is that when you're having these parties, do they have a purpose? At the end of the day, when you are done with the party and you put all the party favors away and you send all the thank you notes out, what was the purpose of the party? A lot of the feedback from people that I coach across the country, they all say it's just because we want to show gratitude to our clients. Well, I would challenge that and say, really, the purpose of a party is to show them what the referral system is, because consumers honestly still, with all the technology and all the information out there, don't know how real estate agents gain business. So I want you to think about going to a restaurant or a hotel. The restaurant appreciates your one meal, the hotel appreciates your one time stay. But what the restaurant and the hotel and the real estate agent want is that repeat or referral business, right? So it's not the one check, it's not the one hotel, it's not the one house. It's that consistency, and it's the reviews, and it's the attraction of maybe your friends and family are going to that restaurant, that hotel, or using you as a realtor, right? Sorry, I have a frog in my throat here. So, just to kind of kick us off and give clarity, really, the main part of a client party isn't necessarily, now they're going to have fun and they're going to have appreciation for you for throwing this party and giving them gifts and treats and snacks and all those fun things. But why do realtors host client parties? It's to strengthen the personal connections, right? Oftentimes we're in a busy or stressful transaction. Maybe these transactions have been a few years ago. So it's a good way to reconnect. They're also leading to loyalty and referrals. And then at the end of the day, you want to also be connecting with testimonials and feedback so you can get better, and you can obviously use that to attract more clients. Sounds pretty basic, sounds pretty obvious, but sometimes when we go into an event, such as a client event, we don't set the proper agenda for ourselves and we get lost in the sauce, is what I like to say. So, first thing, if you're never have had a client event before, it is truly about who you invite. It does matter. So, I know this is maybe not going to be popular, but you wouldn't necessarily always invite every past client. Some of you may have clients that you don't agree with, that maybe you just clashed with. Obviously, that's probably a no-brainer. I wouldn't invite them. But over the course of your years, 3, 4, 5 years in the business, we really want to quantify the referrals that they're sending you, right? So it's not the one transaction, not the one home. It is, have they sent you their brother, their sister? Now, you and I know that these referrals don't always work out, but we want to count how many referrals they send in a year. So A plus A and B is just like we would categorize. What I would also say is that this is not for the consumers to know the difference, right? And so if you're feeling icky about it, it's really just a way for you to control the quality of your event with people that are going to eventually or most likely give you referrals, right? So you're going to need all the contact information, email, cell phone, and mailing address, because when you're inviting these folks, it's not just one touch, it's not which one type. So make sure in your database or a spreadsheet, you have all your contact information for every single person you plan to invite, right? Super important. Then there's a sequence of the invitations that need to go out. This is probably more important than the actual event, to be honest. We use what we call a 6422, which is 6 weeks out. You're going to do a save the date. It's a little bit informal. It's going to splash it on social media. You may be even doing some text messages, but it's just going to get the essence of like, hey, this is the date and the time, right? Nothing super fancy. Then 4 weeks out, you'll have a formal invitation. Print is not dead. In fact, QR codes that link to the digital invitation are very effective. So make sure you're doing that about 4 weeks. 2 weeks in, you're going to be tightening up those RSVPs. The maybes, we want to see if we can get them off the fence. The yeses, we want to make sure we're double sure that they're coming. And the ones that cannot attend, just a final circle around to make sure that we know they're coming. I'm sorry, that they're not coming. Also, a reminder of the event, 1 to 2 days. This is probably the most important of the 6422. 2 days before, and you know it, and I know it, that we all get busy. We have saved the date, we have it in our calendar, we've told our spouse or partner or kids that we're going to this event, and then life gets busy, right? So 1 to 2 days, 2 days at the max, you're gonna say, hey, I have you down as a yes for this event. Just want to give you, can you just give me a thumbs up that we're still good to go, right? Look forward to seeing you there, right? Using QR codes, using electronic RSVP systems like Eventbrite. There's a lot of other party apps out there. Also, if you have a closed Facebook group for your past clients, definitely use that as an advantage. I highly encourage anybody I coach to start collecting their humans into a Facebook group so you can have more interactions beyond what is publicly displayed. Expectations of RSVPs. So one thing I want you to be aware of is that not everyone shows up. Actually, in RSVP culture, it's kind of getting worse, to be honest. So right now, we're about a 70% RSVP rate. So if you invited 50 people, oh, you probably invited 100 people, 50 people said yes, you're still going to have 15 people that just don't show up, right? And if you're paying per plate, or you're paying for ice cream, or paying for pumpkins, or whatever the item is, that can really affect your budget, right? So I would honestly, I know we don't want to stress about it, but I would uh, under plan for food and gifts and things like that. If you run out, maybe you have some extras on the side, or maybe you can purchase some additional things when you're at the site. But in my opinion, be careful with that, because you're going to end up with a lot of extra food, a lot of extra pumpkins, and a budget. So 70% is pretty normal in this space. So probably the number one thing that I hear and that I've experienced is lack of a plan the day of. It's just complete chaos, right? So these are the few things that I think we need to go over to make sure that you really are executing your plan at a really high level. I highly coach people to have a check-in process. We'll go into that a little bit more. Social media, we know that's a thing, right? Everybody has a cell phone in their hands. We'll talk about that. Capturing the party moments. Yes, you can have a photographer, but really engaging your customers or your clients to participate in capturing those moments. The main event gathering, we'll talk about that. A goodbye with a purpose, follow up, and then we missed you if they don't attend. So this is kind of the framework of what we go through. So check-in process. So I have personally experienced through being a consumer and an agent hosting these events that If we don't have a check-in or a central spot where everybody starts from, it really lacks the connection. So if you're doing it at a large farm, if you're doing it at a restaurant, if you're doing it somewhere where they kind of are spread out, your customers and clients are spread out, it's not going to be a win for you, right? Because you can't have that connection and you can't really explain the agenda or what we call the main event, right? The second thing is a check-in process is really killing two birds with the same stone. It's allowing you to be much more effective with you updating your database. We all struggle with missing information such as a phone number, an email, or a birthday, right? So in a perfect situation, I would coach you to have a laptop, have it open, have your CRM or your spreadsheet open, have someone else checking them in using that laptop. And when they come up, just think of it like they're going to a movie theater or anything like that. They have to file into a line. I personally think they should probably receive something, whether it's drink tickets or it's a fake little wristband so you can identify everybody with the same pink wristband. Gives them a reason to check in. It gives them direction to stay in the line. While they're in the line checking in, because you're having this third-party person check them in, right? Verifying information, ask them some fun information, maybe their birthday month. You can, in the line, interact with them, almost like a receiving line at a wedding, and you can interact with them together, right? And it just creates this opportunity where when they check in, they can have expectations of what's going to happen. Little detail here, I would put that check-in process in your invitation. So an example, the party is from 6 to 8, 5:45 check-in, put that on the physical invitation so they know to come early. We know the people that are going to be late, but we do know there's some that are punctual and follow directions, and that would be able to control some of the herd, so to speak. Social media, huge opportunity, right? It's not just about the event, but it's the reach outside of that. There's going to be clients that see this that couldn't attend, and they're going to say, "Oh my gosh, that looks so fun." They're going to see that's going to influence the other friends and relatives that you're not friends with because it's connecting to that client's database, aka Facebook or Instagram friends, right? So I want you to research and think about a party theme, come up with little hashtags, create a little selfie station, like a little backdrop area, and make sure you're describing and communicating all this when they check in. Hey, make sure you tag us at XYZ Brokerage or XYZ Realtor. Second thing is make sure you almost create like a scavenger hunt event where maybe there's certain things that they need to do to capture certain moments. And the more they tag you or the more hashtags or tags you get, the better it'll be. But they're going to play the game if they're into social media at any capacity, okay? Another cardinal sin is a lot of people think, oh, I'm going to, take my own photos. I love that. Yet I will tell you it's not effective. Number one, you get caught in the moment and you don't use your phone or photography yourself because you're talking, which is what you should be doing, prospecting and connecting. Second thing is you're not in most of the photos because you're taking them. And the third thing is that professional photography can definitely paint a broader picture of the environment as far as the display, as far as the visual aesthetics. But one thing I have seen a trend is having your clients join in on the fun. I'm going to show you in the next screen. There's some apps that are very easy for them to scan and download, and they essentially create an album for you. What that means is they're going to scan this QR code. Let me go to the next one. These are like $16, $25, something like that. So these are just a couple that I found on Google. There's a lot of companies out there. The client shows up, you have this QR code, and as they're taking photos of their children, of their experience, of their moments, it's going to be captured and you're going to get access to all of them, right? So then you can go and take those photos and tag them in their social media posts if they aren't skilled or haven't had the moment to actually tag themselves. So that creates engagement there. Don't miss this step because it's super important that you create that culture of that moment and you transfer that into your social media. It's also, I've seen people take these photos and use it as almost like a small gift afterwards. They take the best photo, they put it in like 8x10 frame or 5x7 frame, and they wrap it and they drop it off, right? And so that's even another wow moment that, yeah, they had the great experience at your event, but now they have this beautiful photo of their 2-year-old son riding the horse at your party, and now they can hang it up and they're going to think of you and connect you with that experience. All right, so now let's go to what we call the main event. So the main event is you. And so many times when I see client events and it's about the pumpkin patch, or it's about a sip and paint, or about it's bowling, or whatever the theme is, that's not the main event. The main event is you, number one, allowing the opportunity for you to have a conversation with each of them as a group. So allowing you a 1 to 3 minute speech, and I'm going to show you a written speech. I'll give you a little script. I want you to have it pre-written. I want you to probably possibly read from it so you don't miss anything. It's not the end of the world. If you've ever been to a wedding, you've seen the groomsmen or the bridesmaid, they have it on their phone or they have it written down. It doesn't have to be rehearsed, doesn't have to be memorized. It does have to be authentic. I think it's a great opportunity for you to elevate certain people in that room as well. We call them the VIP referral clients. So if you go back to the original conversation of the quality of who you're inviting, A plus are people that have given you 1 or more referrals throughout this year. This is a screenshot of an event that a client did a few years ago. They did these cool like holiday, you can see it on the screen, holiday wreaths that people put on the door, and they had them customized with the customer's last name. Not everyone got those. The only people that got that VIP event were people that gave 1 additional referral. So it doesn't mean they didn't qualify if they just bought 1 house, right? They had to pass a name, contact information to their realtor to then get that. And that's discussed at the main event speech, because we really want to make sure they really start to learn the behavior of referrals. And who doesn't want a VIP? Who doesn't want to be, I always say it's kind of like Vegas going into like bottle service, like if you're at a nice, really expensive bar, restaurant, club. The roped off section is for VIPs. It's definitely more elite. We want to get to the mentality that we appreciate them, that they purchased a home, and yet our continued support or continued need to grow our business is future referrals. So yeah, we know they don't all buy multiple houses in a year unless they're an investor, but their sister, brother, cousin, maybe people from work might. Okay, so that main event is super important. It's also on the invitation. So if they're out and about, maybe at like a pumpkin patch, make sure the invitation when they check in, also they remind you, hey, there's a main event, an announcement at the Red Barn at 6 p.m. or 6:30 p.m., right? So they know where to go. They know what the event is. It's a special announcement. And really the special announcement is congratulating them, thanking them for their support, and then obviously giving the VIP members their gifts, okay? Also, opportunity for you to mention your sponsors. And if you are doing any kind of donation, you can obviously show gratitude with that. Don't skip this step. And I see so many times that we're kind of more introverted. Maybe we're social, but we don't want to ask for the business. That is the main event. The main event is you showing up and telling them. So I'm not necessarily going to read the whole thing, but, well, I might, just so you can kind of hear it out loud, right? So basically the main event speech is we want to take a moment to express our gratitude and loyalty for your support with our real estate brokerage or team, or my business, and your favorite real estate agent. Your home purchase and valuable referrals have allowed us to help X amount of families this year alone. Thanks to you for your support. And our brokerage or our team is ranked within the top 10%, 20% of all the local real estate brokerages companies, right? So it's really that initial one is thanking them, but giving them us context as to the results from all their referrals and their business, right? Whenever we host client events, we have 3 main goals: to reconnect and celebrate, because we really enjoy you and want to help each other in the community. We want to show our appreciation to our top VIP clients. So you see these gifts in the back. These are actually people that have given us warm referrals, at least 1 for the year beyond what they purchased their own home. They maybe sent their mother, their sister, a coworker. So this is a little extra something special in the VIP club. Also to encourage your continued support, because just like any other business, it's that repeat business is super important for the longevity of our business. So number one, if you have a referral, if you know somebody at work, maybe you hear them talking about maybe they're renting and they want to buy, maybe you talk to somebody else or you hear somebody else and they're downsizing because their kids are headed off to college, we would love that warm referral. What a warm referral means is you connect me with them. So a text message or a physical handshake if we're face to face, or an email. So it's not a cold conversation. So I can feel like you and I are in partnership with this new referral. And then if let's say you don't have anybody, right? Maybe you haven't heard anybody that wants to buy or wants to sell. And of course, we understand that. Yet a testimonial. Have you went on our Google review page and left us a review? Have maybe you can even do a quick video testimonial. And in fact, before you leave, we've got that opportunity for you. So we have QR codes for the Google review. So if you can do that now, that would elevate our business and show our level of expertise. We also do, our photographer is also doing a secondary video shoot. So just something simple like, what is one word to describe us? Our photographer would film that and we'd be using that for social media. So once again, thank you for being a part of this community. And we look forward to these every year and all of these milestones we're going to be doing together. And we appreciate everything you're doing for us. So you get the gist of it. It's kind of like the mayor campaign. It's a mayor speech. It needs to be done. And so you can modify this one, change it up, add and subtract what you like and dislike, but definitely have one to connect with. And just like I said in that speech, I say goodbye with a review, making sure they know that this QR code or this link that you're sending them is important. And we all have been guilty of going to a restaurant or a hotel and getting those surveys and not filling them out because we're busy, right? And when they probably got their survey, they were moving boxes because you had sent it the day after they closed, right? So work through that, mention that in your speech. All right. You know this is true, and we've said it 1,000 times in other situations, but in client events, follow-up is key. Tricky thing is that everyone kind of hangs their hat on the event, and they're like, it's over, right? But we know that all the steps prior, all the steps after are really the most important. The event, it was beautiful. The event, Instagram worthy, right? But you have to really prepare for follow-up, right? Email the same day, thank you for coming. You can draft that and pre-schedule it, right? Most softwares, Gmail, all does that. Personal note, thank you for coming. You can pre-write them, right? Have them pre-done. Maybe you add their name at the top and do a mailing address handwritten, right? Public social media posts, make sure you're tagging people because that opens up the exposure to their database, aka their social media friends. VIP closed groups. So if you do have a closed group in Facebook that you dump all those photos in there, tag those clients as well. And also, something you can't forget is send out a party survey. We want to know one thing you love, one thing you think we could change for next year, right? And so all those things can be prepped and ready to go. So in the 24 hours to 48 hours after the party that you're fatigued and you're tired from all that entertaining, it can still go out without heavy lifting done by you. One extra cherry on top is the we miss you touch. So many people that you reached out to said, no, I'm sorry, I have a conflict, right? And that happens. Life is busy. There's always going to be conflicts. Also, people that RSVP that just didn't show up, right? That 20%, 30% that we talked about before, the 70% show up, 30% don't. Kids get sick, people forget, life happens, right? So creating a postcard, prepping that, getting that ready to go. This is an example of one of my clients did, had huge response, right? She still had a great event, but there was a ton of people that were just disappointed. In this case, it was a summer event and they were at the beach and they weren't able to join in the fun. But in this note, it's basically saying, hey, sorry we missed you. We'll see you at the next one, right? And make sure, obviously, you're texting all that. And then the final thing, if you see on create a little mini party gift, right? Most of you, if you ever been to birthday showers, weddings, right? They have little gifts. Well, that's what client events generally have as well. Drop those off, right? So maybe you have, like, maybe you did a pumpkin event and maybe you do have 10 people that didn't show up. Right? Take their pumpkins. You paid for them probably, most likely. Throw a little tag on there, knock on their door and say, sorry, we missed you, but I still wanted to get you your pumpkin, right? So don't miss those opportunities, especially in the we missed you touch. All right, then a client event party checklist. I'll send this to you. This gives you everything from the beginning of how you set this up all the way down to the final conclusion of your follow-up. I'll send this to you. I'm going to send it to you in Canva as far as a template, so you can update it and modify it and change it around if you need to do so. It's your business. You can change up that checklist. All right. And another thing is I want to make sure you're not in the friend zone, you're in the pro zone, right? So if I am the one hosting the event, it's not me that's hosting the event. It's not Drew DeMaree, it's the Freedom Companies, right? So my company is hosting this event. And sometimes I think we stay in the friend zone so they know us by our name, but I want them to get an elevated sense of your brand, right? So just be really aware of that. Your branding needs to be around signs, banners, stickers, swag. Everything needs to be connected to your brand, whether it's your team logo, your personal logo, or your brokerage logo. And then being consistent. I see agents consistently not being consistent, meaning they kind of hop around on these events. People love consistency. Think about like a 2-year-old. They love that pattern and behavior of like the daily routine. Same with our client base, right? So if you host an Easter event every year, year after year after year, it's the second annual, third annual, fifth annual, they're going to be more consistently relying on seeing that and showing up. They can plan for it. And if they miss it, they know it'll be around next year, so they're more likely to attend the next time, right? So once you find your core 4 events we typically talk about, stick with them. Don't move them. Really, you can kind of modify the themes, you can do a lot of different things to make it fresh and new, but stick with, if it's a February event, keep it in February. If it's a July event, keep it in July. Does that make sense? Hopefully. All right. Asking your clients to bring a donation. So this has been one of the key things that really has made our events that I have hosted and our clients have invested, our agent clients have invested in. They brought them to a different level. It's no surprise. There's a book called Tribes from Seth Godin. He's written a lot of other books. It's a small book. I love the book. But basically, the book says that we're all in community together, right? Whether it's a religious tribe, whether it's a cultural tribe, whether it's a real estate tribe, right? And so they members want to contribute and they want to be in like-minded situations or conversations, right? So think of it like at a holiday dinner, right? Or a holiday party that you're invited to. You always feel awkward if you don't bring a side or a bottle of wine or something to the party, right? And so our clients want to feel that connection and community. So it actually encourages that. And it also teaches the mindset, the psychology of the referral, right? So think about that and tie a donation to a party. So maybe it's a coat drive, or maybe it's a food donation program, or maybe it could be a lot of different things. And you're going to Toys for Tots, different things like that. It helps them get unstuck, and it really does create the opportunity for you as a leader. So these are a few examples. This is one that I actually pulled up from a client a few years back. Food drive. So yeah, they were doing it at a nursery, but they had a big box right when you walked in at the check-in, and people contributed food. And they set a goal of, I think it was 1,000 pieces of food, cans, boxes, and all. They gave a list of things. And it was amazing, right? And so it just allowed that community to go forward. Coat drives, toy drives, pet food. Even had one client do like brand new pillows, like where you sleep on, for the women's shelter, because I guess they throw them away every single time someone rotates in there in the shelter, and it just gave them kind of a fresh, clean pillow, contributed. And they were like $10, nothing crazy. Those of you that are like, I can't afford a big event, my budget isn't there, I will tell you the secret in the sauce is these micro events are actually probably better. When you're newer in the business or when you want to have more niche based conversations, these micro events are where it's at. And so we're seeing a combination of this. So what we're seeing is that two micro events typically get done a year, if not more, based on your budget. And then those four anniversary big events, right? And so if you don't have the pocketbook or the budget for those large events, go in reverse. Maybe you do four events or six events that are micro, and then eventually you transition into an annual event as your budget and as your client base grows. It's micro events, pretty self-explanatory, but it's 4 to 6 people. It's really strategically thinking through your personalities, profiles, and maybe their occupation or their recreational things that they may know they have in common with these other people. Yeah, they might not know these people because they're strangers, but you're connecting them, right? Axe throwing, bowling, pottery, there's a one that my client does, ladies night out, super genius. She only invites her female clients, 4 to 6 women, and they bring 2 bottles of wine at $15 or less, the same exact bottle. And they open and sample one of those bottles, and they kind of give a little score sheet. And then whoever has the best bottle of wine, they give the wine away. So the crazy thing is, in that event, really the alcohol is paid for by the consumer, your customers. So maybe a charcuterie board, obviously beverages to keep them hydrated so they stay sober and all that good stuff. But there's a lot of ways to break bread or to have events that are not going to be overly expensive and that really do connect and allow you to have referral conversations. Budgets and sponsors, huge, 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 right? So you definitely make sure you understand most events are going to have fixed and variable. So fixed is the certain things that you know you're going to, the food or the venue space, certain things like that. There could be some variable costs, right? So if people buy additional drinks or things like that, you have to start to figure out how you can control that. Also, vendors are more than willing to help sponsor. Give them their time to shine, give them the opportunity to earn your client's business as well. I think having a co-sponsored event with vendors are huge. Those of you that are listening to this that are solo agents, I also want you to consider teaming up possibly with another agent in your brokerage. So maybe you're a solo agent and maybe this person's a solo agent, but what if you did one together? And yeah, they're gonna have their clients and you're gonna have yours, but it's a shared cost. It actually might create a larger environment. So it kind of creates a buzz and energy, right? And you might have separate branding and separate swag, but you kind of have a cohesive thing. So if you are newer in the business and you say, hey, I don't have the budget or the sponsors, maybe you're teaming up with your brokerage. Maybe you're teaming up with another fellow agent. Talk to your broker to make sure there's compliance and everybody's happy. But that could be a way to get through your budget challenges if you're kind of just getting started. Well, I hope this gave you inspiration to go into the holiday season and think about how to create an event. We have another free training coming up in December the 19th. I call this the holiday haze because a lot of us in this October, November, December season, we are goal planning for 2025. So we come up with our goals and then we hit the right in the thick of it, the November, December holidays. And then you kind of hit this slump or this haze in January of like, I know what my goal is, I know what my plan is, but I'm just not feeling the motivation that I need. And so I hope you can join me on December 19th at 11 o'clock on Zoom, just like this one. And we're going to go over some hacks and some strategies to kind of get that momentum going so we don't wait till February, March to kind of feel it. We can actually get through the holiday haze a little faster and hack through that. So if you are watching this, please take out your phone and scan this QR code and sign up with the Zoom link that is the RSVP link. Two final little QR codes. We do what we call coffee and coaching at different team meetings or brokerage meetings. So if you're a real estate team member or a real estate brokerage member, we'd love to come to your brokerage, meet new people in person. If you're in the Richmond market, Northern Virginia market, we'd love to come for 30 minutes, bring you donuts and coffee and have a 30-minute discussion on a particular topic that may be important. This is a QR code that links to a Google form that gets you signed up for that. And we'll lock in and come to your sales meeting soon. And the last thing is if you're an agent looking to put all the pieces together, if you looked at this training, you're a little overwhelmed by it, or you feel like it's a plan, but you need some accountability, this QR code will take you to our one-on-one discovery call. And so it allows you and I to connect on a private Zoom session and allows us to work through maybe some of the goals, some of the challenges, some of the opportunities that you have in your business. We have what we call a flexible coaching program, so you can see this and we can explain it further on your discovery call. But we have a lot of different pricing structures and different add-ons based on the level of experience you have and the size of your team or a solo agent. But it starts at $295, and again, it has flexible terms as far as how many months your contract can be ratified for. And the final QR code, I know there was a lot of QR codes, is just a scan to our Google review. And so I want to thank you so much for your time, especially this evening. I want you to think about how can you take your real estate client parties to the next level. I did a survey before of people that are attending this. 85% of you never even had an event. And I encourage you, hopefully with some of this information, it'll incentivize you or give you the courage to take that first leap. And there was the other percentage is you have had a client event. And if you had a client event, you haven't ended with a referral, and you haven't gotten the results, maybe there's a little bit more purpose that you can put behind it now that you attended this training. So please scan this QR code, give us some feedback on our training tonight. And I just want to say happy holidays for everybody, and have a great and amazing season. Be purposeful, and we're going to all thrive in 2025. I can feel it already, and just keep on going. Have an amazing evening, and I'll talk to you and see you at our next training. Bye.